We are back. A's Athletic Baseball, past, present, and future. It's been a while. This is the second episode. It's a 3-month period. The first co-host was Billy Martin Jr., who had to, after a lot of consideration, pass up being the co-host of the A's show. He has a job managing in an independent league, and he really can't take the commitment. But that was the bad news. The good news is I found an old friend who is coming back to the zone, was a guest way back when I did the show at the FCC not so free studios, as it turns out, with John Miller back in the days of early podcasting. And he's an A's expert, one of the most rabid fans I know, and is going to make a great co-host. Patrick Tracey, how are you, sir?
I'm quite well. It's great to be here. Thanks, Ralph.
Good. Glad you are. You recently moved. You were in the Bay Area for many, many years, and you guys moved to the country. Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah. Living the country life up in western Sonoma County, Forestville, to be exact, after 30-plus years in the nickel-dime area code, but have retired, and I'm living a good life.
Very nice. I'm delighted for you. What can I tell you? You're going to miss the Bay Area. You're going to miss a lot of it, but you'll get back on occasion. I know that.
Yeah. 75 minutes away. So
75 minutes. One thing about living in California, you can go 75 minutes in any direction and totally change the terrain, the weather, the lifestyle, the people. Am I right about that? Is this not?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go surfing and skiing in the same day.
Absolutely. And we're blessed to be out here. Northern California, Oakland, and Oakland fans, sports fans in particular, football fans, took a big hit yesterday when it was announced that the Raiders are for sure gone. It was a 30-1 vote by the owners approving the move to Las Vegas. And since this is an A's show, let's talk a little bit about how this affects the future of the Oakland A's. We talked off the air just a second or two, and it's my contention that this virtually guarantees the A's finding a place to play and the job getting done of getting out of that dilapidated Coliseum.
The mausoleum? Come on. I agree with you 100% there. I think that my heart goes out to Raider fans. It's something that the A's fans have lived with, kind of the hatchet hanging over our head for a number of years about the A's moving to San Jose or Fremont or who knows where. But now it looks like that we're staying. I said I feel guilty being so happy about it for my Raider fans, but in 3 years approximately, the Warriors will be gone and the Raiders will be gone, and the A's will be the only game in town. I think that not only sets them up for a stadium, but also you think about the corporate sponsorship dollars that they're not going to have to share with the Warriors or the Raiders. So I'm sure that the ad sales people for the A's are licking their chops knowing that they're going to have cornered the market, a monopoly.
Still, it's a bad day overall kids that want to grow up following a team. Is that team going to be gone? Is that team going to be here? Do you want to? And I know because I grew up in New York, and the Giants and Dodgers both left when I was 11 years old, 10 or 11. And for an avid sports fan as a kid, that was a shock for not just me, for a lot of people. You don't have to be a kid to be shocked when your team leaves. For the Raiders, Raider fans leaving this time was a real kick because some of you may remember out there as time marches on, it wasn't that long ago when they left to go to L.A., came back, made kissy face and made up, and now they're gone again. It's like remarrying your ex-wife and she runs away with the milkman.
Break your heart.
Tough.
Yeah.
So I'm
definitely
sorry
is.
for kids. I'm sorry for fans. I'm sorry that sports is such a corporate world. It's not new. When I was a kid, I didn't realize that it was all business. But the game has always been that way. And it's just tough. But again, for the A's, good news. Now, there are 3 sites that they talk about as possibilities. One of them is to dilapidate, to tear down what's left of the Coliseum and build right there. It's right near Bard. Everything's cool. Another site is where Laney College is, and that is. I don't even know how to describe. I'm so terrible with directions. You can tell me where Laney College is better than I can.
It's a little bit east of downtown Oakland.
Okay, towards the water a little bit, but the site. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. The third site, though, is in potential site being talked about is Jack London Square, which would pit both balls. You'd have one ballpark, one gem of a ballpark on one side of the bay facing another ballpark looking into San Francisco. On this side of the bay, I think that would be absolutely idyllic. I think now, as far as transportation in and out, that could be the problem. It could be decided on by everything being existing. BART is there. Everything is
right.
long.
Parking is also another big variable that they're looking at.
Right. So it may come down to putting a all baseball field in exactly the same place as the Coliseum was, and who knows?
Right. Yeah, they're definitely.
Well, who knows what's going to happen with the Warriors? They may remain right next door. It hasn't been easy for them to get permits in San Francisco. There's a lot of stuff going on with building. Although, what with the new regime, all regulations for environmental concerns are off. So that as we destroy the planet, why not just throw up another venue right there, and we'll go down the hill in a handbasket a little faster that way, but not much. No one will notice. It's a crazy world. It really is.
Yeah. The Warriors certainly have some hurdles to get to their new location, but I think it's going to happen. I really do. I think it may take longer than they it already has. When they originally announced that they were supposed to be there in 2017, they're supposed to be there right now, and they postponed it to 2019, and it's still still have some hurdles to overcome, but the amount of money that the Warriors ownership has already invested in the San Francisco site, I think they'll make it happen. There's just too much money on the table. But at least they're staying local.
All the more
Warrior
reason to
fan.
keep the A's. All the more reason to keep the A's in what I consider to be an untapped market. When the A's came in originally, they were like stepchildren in the Bay Area. The Giants, they came from Kansas City in '68. Giants had been there for 10 years, and they'd been through pennant races and Willie Mays and, all the great memories, and McCovey and Zepeda, all that, by the time the A's even got here. And they, like I say, they were treated like red-headed stepchildren.
Yeah,
and,
definitely. And that was kind of part of their, I think, appeal to many of us was those of us who root for underdogs, right? The Giants were the established team, the team of the establishment, if you will, and the A's were the upstarts. And then they quickly adopted the hairs versus the squares kind of image, which just endeared them to many of us at that time, because they were kind of the counterculture team with mustaches and long hair and white shoes.
And they
kind of embraced that role
Ball, then came Billy Ball, and that too was incredibly exciting. And then the Bash Brothers and all of it. They have a wonderful history. Things might have been a little different had Jason Giambi's brother slid instead of stood.
I was at that game, and I'll never forget it because it was so shocking when I saw the throw from the outfielder go over the cutoff man. I was sure the run was going to score because I thought this is cutoff man.
And that incredible play, I think it was Derek Jeter that makes that
incredible
play.
Jeter showed out of nowhere and was there, and we were all looking around going, what happened? Because I'd never seen that play before, and just from ecstasy to agony in a matter of seconds. Like I said, when I saw that throw sailing high in the air, I'm going, oh, he missed his cutoff man. We're going to score. And then all of a sudden they called him out, and I just said, what happened? Oh, that was a tough game. Zito pitched well. Yeah. He deserved better.
That play alone absolutely sealed Derek Jeter in the Hall of Fame. That was if nothing else he did in his entire career. Did come from nowhere. Wow.
And it was funny because he said, "Oh, we practiced that play." I said, "Really? Really? I've played a lot of baseball when I was young, and I don't ever remember a shortstop being between home and first on a relay from right field." But the A's have had actually a lot of plays like that in postseason, whether it was Miguel Tejada not scoring or Eric Burns not scoring versus the Red Sox, and just play after play to kind of break their hearts when they're this close to success.
Okay. You've been an A's fan. You can't be an A's fan without really loving the memory of Bill King. And I want to just say that if I didn't mention it the last time we did a show, he was elected. He was awarded the Fort C. Frick Award, which in essence for broadcasters, and in essence, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Bill King posthumously, can't pronounce that very well, in the Hall of Fame. Friend of the show, Ken Korash, wrote a book, an old friend of mine, Ken and I go way back to the California League years ago. I was the Tops rep, and he was announcing up in Redwood City, up in Sonoma, where you guys are.
Right. Yeah.
The Redwood Pioneers. It wasn't Redwood City. It was the Redwood Pioneers up in near Santa Rosa.
Yep.
And great stories of those days. We'll talk about the A's and the minors that I grew up watching as the Tops rep, and that was great fun. But he wrote a book a number of years ago and has been on the show a couple of times, and about Bill King, and what very few people don't know about Bill King is that he was the third man in the booth when Lon Simmons and Russ Hodges did the Giants when they first came out here. Bill King was third man in the booth, and for some reason the name slips my mind, but the producer of the radio and television broadcast for the Giants in those days was Franklin Muley. His name came back to me, who later bought the Warriors. And he brought Bill King in as, like I say, the third guy. Rarely got on the air, but years later he and Lon made one of the best announcing teams in the history of baseball.
Absolutely. They were. Those were the golden days for the A's fans to listen to the radio. I think, Monty Moore to Ken Korak, they're all great, but Lon and Bill were just so good together. And I mean, Bill should be in all the Hall of Fames, really, as an announcer. He was amazing with the Warriors and the Raiders.
I think baseball, with all due respect to his baseball announcing, which was Hall of Fame quality, obviously, and not just an opinion, in real life, baseball was his third best sport, announcing. Because of the different paces of the game, he was, I think, more suited to a faster tempo games, and he was a great basketball announcer. Oh, he was terrific. And football, my God, he did the Raiders so well.
Yeah, he was a real Bay Area treasure. My favorite memory of Lon and Bill was when Rickey Henderson was on the verge of breaking Lou Brock's record, and it was Lon's inning to broadcast, and the inning started, and he gave it to Bill. He said, Bill, your voice belongs in the Hall of Fame. And he let Bill announce the inning when Rickey stole the bag, which I thought was so magnanimous. I mean, talk about class.
Yes. We both lived in Alameda, and I don't know if you knew that Lon Simmons lived out on Bay Farm Island for
I didn't know that.
a while, a period of time. And one day I'm shopping at the Safeway at Bay Farm, and I see Lon Simmons standing there. And I go up to him, and it was like, you remember the old Jackie Gleason show?
Sure.
Hama, 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 hama. I had nothing to say. I could not. The word, it was just, I just looked at him. Wow. I can't. You can't. What do you say to a guy? Like, for some people, it might be Joe DiMaggio that you walk up to. I could walk up to Joe DiMaggio. Hey, you're Joe DiMaggio. But Lon Simmons, because of what you said, not just the class, just his low-key way, and announcers become our friends we hear their voice more than our family members go into our ears. Thankfully, a lot of times. In my case,
no comment.
Not now, but I've had some family members in the past. Whoa. And it's just mellow. You don't have to listen to every word. You could be doing something if it's on the radio. Such an advantage of having them as companions through the long summer of baseball. It's a terrific sport, and the A's have been entertaining. You want to talk a little bit about what's going on in today's on the field with the A's today? How you feel about what's coming up? Or,
sure. Well, first of all, it's springtime, so So we're undefeated, and still in contention for the World Series. Hope springs eternal. Right. But that being said, I think that the A's
what you like, what you don't like. We can be totally objective because there's a difference between being a fan and an analyst, and I know you can do both.
Yeah. Well, I think that they're, health is always the asterisk we'll throw on there. I mean, after last year, they had to use the disabled list a record 27 times. But if they're healthy, I think they're a 500 club, close to 500. They're not going to be the worst team in baseball, or one of the worst teams in baseball as they have been the last couple of years. I think Billy Beane's off-season moves, although not flashy, were in alignment with building this team. Got some leaders, veterans, Plouffe, Rajay Davis, Adam Rosales.
Oh, that's the first guy I would have mentioned too. He's got World Series experience. He hit a big home run for Cleveland that looked for a second like it was going to win the World Series, and it being the Cubs wouldn't have surprised anybody if it was.
That was a great World Series, that's for sure.
But he makes things happen, and it's nice that they get him back. He's happy to be back, and he's a good, solid major league ball player. So
he definitely adds the element of speed, which the A's haven't had in a while. Led the American League in stolen bases last year with 40 plus bases. So just by himself, he dramatically increases the A's speed on the base paths and stolen bases. Although that's not a favorite thing of Billy Beane, but it helps round out their offensive arsenal a little bit. So not flashy, not superstars, but some veterans, supposedly great clubhouse guys. And
Sonny Gray getting hurt really is a setback, you must say.
That was always the concern with him because of his physical stature. He's not a big guy, and pitchers have a tendency to break down a little bit when they're not 6 feet plus. But a lat injury, so.
Can I interrupt a second and get your take on what's causing all these injuries for pitchers? And I've talked to a lot of people with a lot of different opinions. Nothing's written in stone. What do you think it is? Do you think it's I'll let you give me your...
I'm certainly not a doctor, but I'm not sure that there are that many more injuries than there used to be. I think that they're just more amplified in the fans' eyes now with the contracts involved. In the 60s or early 70s, a pitcher blew out his arm and he just kind of disappeared, and they brought somebody else up. But now when you've got $30-40 million invested in somebody, it's a big deal when somebody gets their arm hurt.
You also have the corrective surgery now that you didn't have back then, the Tommy John type
Right.
type surgery.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Tommy John and rotator cuff. In the old days. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But now people have multiple Tommy Johns, which is just incredible to think about, and come back. But so yeah, I don't know what the statistics are, but I think that it's just more noticeable now. Like I said, the old days, a pitcher just hurt his arm and you just didn't see him anymore, and they brought somebody else up, and it wasn't a big deal because they didn't have that investment in him that they do now. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, but certainly common sense would say that all this club sports, as in the youth leagues and stuff where the competition is so intense and the money that's being dangled in front of traveling teams, that coaches are more concerned about winning and putting up gaudy numbers than the long-term health of a young pitcher. So they, whether it's in Little League and throwing curveballs or in college where they throw an enormous amount of innings, it probably leads to some of these injuries. Once again, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on television.
You play one well, too, I don't know if it's podcasting.
Well, the white coat, the white coat and the stethoscope helps.
Right. And it also comes in handy on play nights, too.
Exactly. The nurse's outfit, Mrs. Wife, good times. But, yeah.
Oh,
so,
doctor. Nurse.
Health. Health being said, if the A's stay healthy, I think that they're, a 500 team, a close to 500 team. My expectation is that, come midsummer, that they will probably deal a number of veterans. Hopefully the veterans are having good years, so they will yield some good prospects. But the Stephen Vogts, Jed Lowry's, even Rajay Davis, kind of players that are over 30 plus, will probably.
May I ask you why the A's soured on Danny Valencia? What was that about?
Right, yeah. Well, I think that there was, a public reason and maybe a non-public reason. The public reason is his defensive metrics, no matter where they put him, third, first, or right field, were pretty bad. His WAR rating was one of the worst defensively in baseball, and the A's defense was not very good. The scuttlebutt and rumor was that he was a clubhouse, dare I say, cancer, to use a cliche. That was one of the things that the A's, with their off-season signings, was to get good clubhouse guys, Rajay Davis, et cetera. They saw an opportunity to get a good young pitcher, Paul Blackburn, who's like 22, going to be at Nashville in the rotation this year, and they just decided to make the move. Hopefully, the other players step up and replace him offensively. I think Ryan Healy's rookie year, right-handed hitter, first baseman type, third baseman type, kind of took his roster spot.
Right.
So Danny goes off to Seattle to play first base.
Well, wish him a lot of luck. Hey, Patrick, this has been a great first effort. I'm absolutely thrilled. We'll do it the same
too.
time,
My pleasure.
same bat channel next week if you're up for it.
It'd be my pleasure. I could sit and talk baseball with you all day, every day.
Beautiful. Welcome to the network. Welcome to the show. Woo, I am flying high. And a few A's fans out there, and even if you guys aren't A's fans, it's nice to catch up on different teams and what's going on. So if you're baseball fans, you're going to enjoy this. We're going to talk about the old history of the A's, go back in years to the legends, the Connie Mack era when they played in Philadelphia, and even the days in Kansas City. We'll go back and talk about some of the memories of when the Yankees had a farm system in Kansas City. Might I mention a few names like Roger Maris, for instance.
That's a big one.
Clete Boyer, he came from Kansas City originally. Some of them went back and forth, but Maris was a big one. Clete Boyer. When I was a kid, I'm sitting in the schoolyard one day. I'm 12, 13. I already know the Yankees are like IBM, so you got to root against them because they've got all the money and all this. And they had made a little deal. They acquired a guy named, it was 1960, Bud Daly, who was among the 5 best pitchers in the American League, and certainly the best pitcher on Kansas City. And they got him for a bag of balls, and I realized that something's definitely wrong. It's 14. I realized the table isn't set quite fairly. You know, needs some evening out.
Few inequities back in those days.
Back in those days, nothing's changed. The more things change, the more they stay the same. There's nothing square, nothing even about the playing fields. And we'll discuss that. We'll discuss all of those things on future shows. And we'll keep up from week to week what's happening with this team. I will say this. The Oakland fan base, any sport, basketball especially, the Warriors, the A's, the Raiders, fanatical and a great fan base. You give them a winning team, you give them a stadium that they can go to without that the Davis monstrosity that they built in center field. It really wasn't that bad a ball field, and they built that, and it covered up the view of the.
Oh yeah, ruined it for baseball.
Hills, it ruined it absolutely, and it was like the Kansas City stadium in a lot of ways. At that open center field with a little greenery and what have you.
Yeah, the ice plant.
Right. Right, it was
good
nice.
Times.
And then there were the years where they were building the monstrosity. Do you remember the workers with the YMCA thing?
Yeah. Good Paul.
I don't know if that's on YouTube. Anybody out there want to get a laugh? I'm sure it has to be somewhere on YouTube. You just A's building monstrosity YMCA. Type that in, you'll get it. All right, Patrick. Thank you, my friend.
Right.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Ralph.
And this is, like I say, it's been fun. Everybody out there, keep on keeping on. We'll be back. Adios, amigos and amigas. Stay on the line, Patrick. I'll talk to you off the air. Adios.